Have you ever stopped to ponder the unspoken truths that unfold when you cross into your 80s? The quiet transformations that no one fully prepares you for, not in heartfelt chats with friends or sage advice from family. Reaching your 80s is a profound milestone, a testament to a life rich with experiences. But it brings a subtle, often overlooked shift that goes beyond the surface, beyond the slower mornings, the milestone birthdays, or the creak of joints. It's a deeper evolution woven with threads of hard-earned wisdom and inevitable lost moments of serene presence and aching distance pockets of deep peace, and at times a loneliness that settles in like a shadow, catching you unprepared. These changes aren't the loud, dramatic upheavals of youth or midlife. They're quiet, creeping realities that can leave you wondering why no one spoke of their weight, their complexity, their power to reshape your days. This comprehensive guide walks you through 5 brutal realities of life after 80, not to instill fear or cast a shadow over this chapter, but to offer clarity to illuminate the path ahead so you can navigate it with strength, preparation, and a sense of agency. We'll delve into the shrinking of social circles that once anchored your world, the body that no longer rebounds with the resilience of younger years, the creeping dependence that feels foreign, even when it's essential, the subtle ways society begins to look past your presence, and the quiet ache of regret that emerges when purpose feels elusive in a slower, more reflective phase of life. Stay with us until the end, because while these truths may carry a heavy weight, they also open a door to something transformative: acceptance that frees you, resilience that sustains you, and the chance to craft this final chapter with a dignity that only you can define. By understanding what truly unfolds after 80, you can meet these realities with open eyes, steady hands, and a heart ready to find meaning in every moment, no matter how small, drawing on the courage that has carried you this far. Let's begin with the first reality: a social circle that quietly disappears, a relational shift that often strikes before physical changes and carries an emotional weight that's hard to put into words. As you step into your 80s, the people who once filled your days, friends who shared morning coffee and hearty laughter, neighbors who greeted you with a wave, siblings who called to swap stories of childhood, or colleagues who tethered you to a shared purpose, begin to fade often without warning, leaving a void that feels hollow no matter how strong or self-reliant you've always been. Friends pass away, their absence a sudden silence where their voices once rang. Neighbors relocate to retirement communities or move closer to their children. Siblings grow frail, their weekly calls dwindling to monthly, if at all. Even longtime companions who once checked in regularly may drift, not out of malice, but because time and circumstance pull people in different directions, their own lives consumed by health challenges, family demands, or the simple passage of years. It's not personal yet, it feels deeply so when you wake one morning to a phone that rarely rings, when invitations to dinners or gatherings slow to a trickle, or when family visits become brief, rushed by the demands of busy lives, careers, grandchildren, or their own aging struggles. The everyday interactions that once wove a vibrant tapestry of connection, impromptu chats at the market, shared laughter over old memories, the comfort of familiar faces at community events, begin to thin, leaving a quiet that settles into your routine, like an uninvited guest reshaping your days in ways you didn't expect. According to the National Institute on Aging, nearly 43% of older adults in the U.S. report feeling lonely on a regular basis, and social isolation has been linked to a 29% increased risk of heart disease and a 32% increased risk of stroke. This shift is rarely discussed as society celebrates the vitality of the 60s and 70s, when friends are still active, social calendars brim with plans, and life hums with movement and check-ins. But after 80, the landscape changes. You begin to outlive your peers, outpace the conversations that once flowed effortlessly, and notice your world contracting, not because you've changed, but because time has reshaped your social orbit in ways that feel both inevitable and unfair. Walter, an 84-year-old widower, felt this keenly at his local coffee shop, a daily ritual for decades, where the staff knew his order: black coffee, no sugar, and friends gathered without needing to text or call. Over time, those friends stopped coming. Some passed, others moved to assisted living, and a few simply stopped driving, their absence eroding the rhythm that once defined his mornings. It's strange Walter shared over a cup one day to walk into a place where everyone used to know your name, and now you're just the man in the corner booth, sipping coffee alone, watching the world move on without you. The loneliness that follows isn't always marked by tears or overt grief. It's often the long silence after dinner, the walk home that feels too still, or the realization that the list of people who truly know your stories, your triumphs, your heartaches, your quiet joys, is growing shorter, and there's little you can do to halt the tide. Yet knowing this reality offers a chance to act with intention, to seek connection even when it no longer comes effortlessly, much like maintaining daily habits for health, as you've explored in past conversations about aging well. You can initiate phone calls to old friends, join a community group like a book club or gardening society, attend a senior center's weekly lunch, or write letters to rekindle bonds. Each small act a declaration that you're still here, still eager to share, and listen, still a vital part of the world. After 80, connection requires courage, a willingness to step into new spaces or reach out when the world feels distant. But you've already proven your resilience by reaching this age. Tap into that strength to build new bridges. Whether through a church choir, a neighborhood walking group, or a simple smile to a stranger, keeping your world vibrant and your heart open. Moving to the second reality, a body that stops bouncing back is a stark truth that becomes undeniable in your 80s as your physical self speaks with a clarity that demands your attention, echoing the importance of proactive health habits you've considered before. The minor aches that once faded with a good night's sleep now linger, becoming persistent companions that greet you each morning. The fatigue that a nap could once cure stretches into the next day, sapping your energy in ways that feel new and disorienting. What catches many off guard is how even small health issues can alter your life overnight. A morning that begins with optimism can end in a doctor's office after a bout of dizziness, a sore leg that doesn't ease, or a cough that lingers beyond reason, turning routine days into a series of medical appointments. These moments, once brushed off with rest or willpower, now require monitoring, imaging, or even hospital stays, and the recovery isn't what it used to be as the body's resilience wanes. A misstep on the stairs might mean weeks of physical therapy, a sprained ankle that takes months to heal. A stomach bug could leave you drained for days, your strength slow to return, your appetite altered. Even when you heal, your balance may feel shakier, your breathing more labored, your body subtly different, as if it's rewritten its own rules. The unpredictability is what makes this stage so challenging. You can eat a balanced diet rich in vegetables and lean proteins. Stay active with gentle walks or chair exercises, prioritize 8 hours of sleep, and still find your body making decisions you didn't authorize, as if it's charting a course you can't fully control. Gloria, an 81-year-old who prided herself on her independence, learned this lesson after a minor fall while tending her beloved rose garden, an activity that had defined her mornings for years, bringing her joy and a sense of purpose. The fall didn't break bones, but the aftermath. Weeks of rest reduced strength, and a shaken confidence changed her daily rhythm, forcing her to rely on a cane and limit her gardening. Research from Johns Hopkins shows that by age 80, muscle strength declines by up to 30–50% compared to early adulthood, and recovery times from illness or injury can be 3 times longer than in your 60s. I thought I was just taking a break, she said, her voice tinged with frustration, but my body treated it like a full stop, and I wasn't ready for that shift. This is the unspoken truth. At 80, rest isn't always restorative in the way it once was. It can slide into decline if you're not proactive, and even with care, your body may slow in ways that feel beyond your control, a reality that underscores the need for daily health practices like those you've explored in maintaining vitality. Yet this reality holds a gift of wisdom. By honoring your energy, pacing yourself with intention, and treating health as a sacred daily practice, you adapt forward, not backward. You might walk slower, but with greater awareness, choosing paths with handrails or flat terrain. Rest longer, but with purpose, perhaps napping in a quiet sunlit room. Incorporate gentle exercises like chair yoga or stretching to maintain mobility, not out of fear, but out of respect for the incredible journey your body has carried you through, from childhood scrapes to the triumphs of raising a family. If this insight resonates with you, Comment number 2 below to share your thoughts and subscribe with the notification bell on to stay updated with more insights. Your support fuels our mission to inform and inspire those navigating the complexities of aging. The third reality, a growing need for help, is one of the most challenging truths to embrace, especially for those who've spent a lifetime as the pillar of strength, the parent who fixed everything, the spouse who carried the load, the friend who always showed up. After 80 independence shifts creeping in so subtly, you might not notice until you're avoiding high shelves in the kitchen, gripping the handrail tighter on the stairs, or hesitating to drive on a rainy evening. Your night vision no longer is sharp. Tasks that once felt effortless, carrying heavy grocery bags, changing a light bulb, or climbing a stepladder to dust the ceiling fan, become daunting, not because you're weak, but because your body demands caution, where instinct once ruled a reminder of the small health habits that preserve strength over time. The emotional weight of this shift is heavier than the physical. It's the discomfort of relying on others when you've always been self-sufficient, the fear of becoming a burden to your children or neighbors, or the pride that makes you hide a stumble, skip a grocery trip, rather than ask for help or struggle with a task you're not ready to admit is too hard, like wrestling with a jammed window. Independence after 80 doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means knowing when to ask for help and having the courage to accept it, a lesson that feels like surrender, but is actually a profound act of strength, preserving your ability to live on your terms. Eugene, an 85-year-old veteran who'd built his life on self-reliance, surviving a war, raising 4 children, even constructing a backyard shed with his own hands, faced this reality after slipping on his icy driveway one winter morning. No bones broke, but his pride took a hit, and he kept the incident quiet, not wanting to worry his daughter or seem frail. She noticed his reluctance to go outside his steps, more tentative, and began visiting weekly with groceries, staying for coffee that evolved into a cherished ritual. "I'm fine," Eugene insisted, at first his voice gruff, but over time he admitted, "It's nice not carrying everything alone, knowing someone's got my back." Accepting help, whether from family, a neighbor who shovels your walk, or tools like grab bars in the bathroom, a kitchen stool for cooking, or a pill organizer to manage medications, preserves your dignity, extending your ability to enjoy life's joys, from reading to your grandchildren to savoring a quiet sunset. After 80, saying "I could use a hand" is an act of bravery, choosing safety over pride, connection over isolation, and a longer, fuller life over stubborn solitude, a choice that echoes the wisdom of small, intentional habits that sustain health and relationships. A report from the CDC indicates that 70% of Americans over the age of 80 require help with at least one activity of daily living, such as bathing, preparing meals, or managing medications. However, only 40% feel comfortable asking for help, often due to pride or fear of burdening loved ones. The fourth reality, a presence the world starts to overlook, is a painful shift that strikes at the core of identity as you begin to feel invisible, not always to those who love you, but to the broader world that moves too swiftly to notice your presence. The cashier at the grocery store looks past you to the next customer, their eyes skimming over you. The doctor addresses your adult child instead of you assuming you can't follow the conversation. The waiter at your favorite diner speaks louder, slower, assuming you can't hear or decide for yourself. Their tone tinged with condescension that stings. These moments, subtle at first, accumulate like small wounds, because no matter your age, you crave being seen, valued for the life you've lived, raising families through lean years, weathering wars or economic hardship, building careers, surviving losses that shaped you. The sting isn't malice, but neglect, a society fixated on youth, speed, and productivity that forgets the strength it takes to reach 80. The stories carried in every wrinkle, every gray hair, every scar earned through decades of living. Irene, an 86-year-old volunteer at a local history museum, felt this acutely when a visitor bypassed her to ask a younger staff member a question about the 1940s, a decade she'd lived through her memories, vivid with details of ration books and wartime letters. "I'm used to it," she said with a sad smile. But the sadness spoke of being treated like furniture rather than the fire she still was. Her knowledge a treasure ignored. Yet you are not background. You're a living library, a witness to time, a voice that carries weight, and your presence matters. Fight the fade by speaking up. Sharing your stories with grandchildren or at community events, asking questions at appointments, voting in elections, or offering insights in conversations, even when no one prompts you, asserting your place in a world that sometimes forgets to listen. Every time you claim your space, whether at a family dinner, a town hall meeting, or a doctor's office, you remind the world and yourself that you're not done. Your presence, a quiet rebellion against invisibility, a testament to the resilience that has defined your life. And in a survey by AARP, 64% of Americans aged 80 and older reported feeling ignored or dismissed in public spaces, including healthcare settings, even when fully capable of making decisions for themselves. If this reality resonates with you, comment number 4 below to share your thoughts and subscribe to support more content like this, as your engagement helps us reach others navigating these challenges. The fifth and final reality, a sense of regret if purpose isn't redefined, emerges as life slows and reflection deepens, creating a space that can be both beautiful and heavy, a phase where time invites you to look back and forward. With fewer obligations, an emptier calendar, and moments to replay memories, you may confront lingering questions that surface in the quiet. I wish I'd spent more time with my children when they were young. Why didn't I take that trip, that risk, that chance to start over? These regrets, not loud or dramatic, but persistent, like a soft ache surface when purpose feels adrift, especially after a life defined by working long hours, raising a family, serving your community, always moving forward. Stanley, an 88-year-old retired teacher who'd shaped young minds for over 40 years, felt this hollowness after retirement, his days once filled with lesson plans and student questions, now stretching empty. "No one needs me anymore," he said, his voice heavy with a question that haunts many. What now? Yet purpose doesn't retire. It evolves, shifting from grand achievements to quieter, no less vital contributions. You may not build houses anymore, but you build confidence in a great-grandchild by sharing stories of your youth. You may not lead boardroom meetings, but you lead with empathy, comforting a friend through grief with a listening ear. You may not solve global problems, but you solve loneliness with a smile to a neighbor or a call to an old friend. Redefining purpose as presence, showing up with kindness, curiosity, and small acts like writing a letter, volunteering at a local shelter, or teaching a grandchild to bake transforms regret into redemption, proving you still have much to give, not just to others, but to yourself, filling your days with meaning. The danger isn't the mistakes you've made, we all have them. It's lingering in them too long, letting them overshadow the light you can still bring. By asking, how can I bring a little light today? Even in a small way, you turn reflection into action, regret into renewal, crafting a purpose that honors both the life you've lived and the one you're still living. Studies from Stanford's Center on Longevity show that having a strong sense of purpose is linked to a 40% reduction in the risk of cognitive decline and a 15% longer life expectancy even after age 80. In reflecting on these 5 realities, shrinking social circles, a body that slows the need for help, feeling unseen, and the quest for renewed purpose reaching your 80s is no small feat. It's a landmark built on decades of love, effort, loss, and resilience, a chapter that demands honesty but rewards courage. These challenges don't diminish you. They reveal your strength, your ability to choose connection over isolation, rest over exhaustion, help over pride, visibility over silence, and meaning over regret. Which reality struck you most deeply? The silence of a smaller world, the frustration of a slower body, the discomfort of dependence, the sting of being overlooked, or the ache for a redefined purpose? Share one insight in the comments below, how it resonates a step. You'll take a story of your own. Your voice fuels our work to inform and inspire. Like, subscribe, and share this guide to spread its wisdom to others navigating this chapter, as your support helps us continue this vital mission. Thank you for joining us on this journey to embrace life after 80 with clarity and strength, and we look forward to connecting with you again in the next video.